This week's video is going to be another sugar related video.
Good morning. Check.
What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Destiny, and if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back to the family. This week's video is going to be another sugar related video, as you can see from the title, and I know you guys love these videos, so I'm back at it again with another one. And this is Sugaring 101. I'm just going to give you some more answers to your burning questions underneath my DIY sugar wax video. If you are seeing this video for the first time without seeing that one, please give it a look. I give you guys an in-depth tutorial, explanation, all that good news on making your own sugar wax at home. So if you want to see that, it's in the info cards above on one of these sides. I'm not really sure, but it'll be there. And yeah, if you want to learn more about that, just watch that video before this one. If you've already seen that and want a little bit more information, keep on watching this video. So let's just get right into it.
Yeah, get into it.
I'm gonna just start with what is sugaring in general, right? So sugaring is actually one of the first forms of hair removal, and it originated in ancient Egypt. So it's been around for a really long time. If you've never heard of it, it's only because it's just now becoming a little bit more mainstream within the past few years. Personally, when I first started waxing, I had no idea about sugaring, what it was. I only knew hard wax, strip wax, and threading. That's literally the only three that I knew about. And once I was introduced to sugaring, I never went back. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. But yeah, if you want a little bit more in-depth explanation about the origins of sugar waxing, I'll leave a good reference in the description box below so you guys can read up on that if you'd like to. Also, I'm going to be reading from my phone and my notebook, so if I'm looking down, that's why I'm looking down. So I have my book here, and I'm just going to be answering some of your guys' questions that you left underneath my DIY sugar wax video. Some of them are also underneath my FAQ video. So I'm going to try my best and make a few videos where I answer most of your questions, because I know how important that can be for you guys and help you in your waxing journey. So I took some of the top questions that I saw were kind of repeated and I didn't really touch too much upon in my last video. So these are your burning questions and I'm going to answer them right now. Everyone asks me, like, is sugaring better than any other form of waxing? Is it better than hard waxing specifically? Because that's one of the most common forms of wax that people know. And to be honest, it's kind of the same, but it's all up to preference, right? So hard wax and sugaring, they both work, they both get the hair out of the follicle. But if you are a person with sensitive skin, if you're prone to ingrown hairs, breakouts, stuff like that, I recommend sugaring because one, it's more gentle and you know all of the ingredients that are inside of the wax. So it's literally just sugar, lemon, and water. And with hard wax, you're buying it made already, and sometimes they don't give you a whole breakdown of the ingredients list. So just be very cautious about that and where you buy your wax from. But nonetheless, they are kind of the same thing. They're both waxes. It's really just up to preference. But like I said, if you have sensitive skin, I'd go more of the sugaring route. Me personally, I started out waxing with hard wax. I didn't know anything about sugaring. So I did that form of waxing for quite a few years before I was introduced to sugaring. And once I was, sis, I didn't go back. Okay, I did not go back to hard waxing. Don't get me wrong, I do hard wax myself once in a blue moon when I'm really lazy, because honestly, sugaring is a lot of work on your hands. And for those of you who've tried my DIY sugar wax at home, you know it's quite a bit of work to know how to maneuver that sugar, so I digress. But it is kind of the same thing, it's just up to preference. I'm taking out my phone now. Is shea butter or coconut oil also a preventative for ingrown hairs? No, because there are thick oils, right? So shea butter is pretty thick, coconut oil is also really thick, and they can clog up the pores. So I'm gonna say no to that one and recommend to go the more natural route, like aloe vera or jojoba and tea tree oil mix, like how I mentioned in my last video. Jojoba and tea tree oil is literally my holy grail product. I'm not going to stress it enough. This is not sponsored. This is literally stuff that I've used myself and love and trust. So if you guys want to try that, I definitely recommend it. You can get it at a beauty supply store off of Amazon. Just make sure that it's 100% jojoba oil or tea tree oil, no additives. That's where things get a little bit wonky. So just make sure that's 100% of that oil. And I usually get a little bottle like this big with a nozzle. I get those from Dollar Tree, and I put 3 parts jojoba oil, 1 part tea tree oil, and I shake it up and I use that, and it lasts me weeks on end, and I love it. It doesn't break the bank and it lasts me forever. So I definitely recommend that, and it's safe to put literally everywhere. If you're a person that does Brazilians more often than not, you can use that there too, and it does not mess up with your pH balance. So I definitely recommend using tea tree and jojoba oil for aftercare, and it also helps treat and prevent ingrown hairs. So there you go, sis, you're welcome. If you want a few more options, I do have another video on this, like my sugaring FAQs video, so I'll pop that up on the screen here somewhere. If you want to know a little bit more about aftercare, look into that video. Can I use it for anywhere on my body? Like literally anywhere. So I got a lot of questions like this for people that are scared to use sugar in like their private areas or their face, stuff like that. So yes, you can use it literally anywhere. The only place I wouldn't recommend is to do your eyebrows unless you're using strips, because the sugar can fall and literally take off your eyebrow. If you do not have a good grip or control over your sugar and you try to do your eyebrows and you take it off, don't blame me, sis. I told you not to. So do not do that unless you have like a strip that can actually help you control where you're laying down that strip. Another thing you can't do with sugar is like wax men's facial hair or like a man's head, because that hair is really thick and rooted in there, and there's a good chance it won't pick it all the way up, and or it can cause irritation. Sometimes people bleed from getting their facial hair taken off, like men specifically, because it's so thick. So I say do not do that, but I do recommend using shaving foam. I'll add a picture of the kind that I use here. I don't use it on my face. I use it on my legs actually, and it works wonders. 100% better than Nair. So if you're a person that doesn't like waxing too much, but you love using like deliberatories such as Nair, I'd say try this puppy out because it's made for sensitive skin. They have different strengths, so you can do your research on that if you'd like to. But this is the kind that I use here, and it's lasted me literally forever. It comes in like a powder form. You add water to it, you put it on your legs for let's say 5 minutes, and then you wipe it off with a damp cloth, and that's it. All my hair comes off. Every single one of them comes off. I don't get chemical burn. It doesn't smell as bad as Nair. It does have a little bit of a little smell, but it's not to the point where I'm like, you know what I mean? Sometimes Nair, I can't. Like, I've tried Nair, I'd say maybe 4 times in my lifetime, and I always get burnt from it. Like, no matter how like long I leave it on, it's so bad. Like, I leave it on for not even 5 minutes and I already feel it burning me. So if you're a person that has a bad relationship with Nair as well, I definitely recommend using this. Also not sponsored. I've used this myself, bought it with my own money, and I highly truly trust it and recommend it. So I got this at a beauty supply, but I think they also sell it on Amazon. I'm not sure, but I'll put a link in the description box. If it isn't on Amazon, I'll let you guys know that. Another question is not really pertaining to sugaring specifically, but it kind of has to do with me and these videos. Someone asked if I can make a bikini/Brazilian wax tutorial, and yes, I can. I just can't show you guys on my body, obviously, because the internet, but I do have it in the works. So I'm gonna try my best to make like diagrams and do my best to show you guys in depth how to properly do a bikini wax or a Brazilian wax. So look out for that video. And let me know in the comments some specifics that you'd like to see in that video, and I'll definitely try my best to add them all in there. So yes, that video will be given to you guys, I promise, and I will give it to you. Next question is, do you always have to cover the skin with baby powder, or is that more of a beginner's hack? So no, it's not a beginner's hack. It's a necessity, and it's because you need to make sure that your skin is dry before sugaring or waxing it at all. Any type of sweat, dirt can definitely mess up with how well your wax comes out. If you are a little bit sweaty and you try to wax over that area, odds are the wax is not going to stick as well, and not all the hairs will come up. So you're going through that pain for no reason at all. So take that extra step, put some cornstarch on the skin. You want to make sure it's dry. That's really the only reason why the baby powder is a necessity. It's just to help make sure that that skin is nice and dry so that you can get a really clean wax. So I always recommend to do that. And if you are a person that sweats really easily and you find yourself sweating in the middle of waxing yourself, putting powder on throughout the service definitely helps as well, to make sure that you just get it done and over with. I know how annoying it can get when you live in like a hot area and you're trying to sugar yourself and you just keep on sweating and it's not coming out the way you want to. Use powder, be patient with yourself, and it's gonna happen, sis. It's going to happen. In an ecological manner, I'd like to directly use my hands without gloves. Will the sugar come out if I rinse it with warm water? So yes, you can definitely use your hands. Just make sure that you're always washing your hands before starting the service, and it does come off with water. If you get stuck, just rinse it off with some lukewarm water and it comes right off. It's not like hard wax where you have to pull it and put yourself through discomfort. It's really easy. Wash it right off and try again. Just make sure that you dry off that skin. And then after, if you're doing multiple body parts with that sugar without using gloves, I recommend washing your hands between each body part so that there's less likelihood of you cross-contaminating and putting bacteria from one body part onto the other, because that's where ingrowns come in, that's where rashes come in, that's where skin irritation comes in. So you want to avoid that at all costs and just make sure you're being very cleanly. I understand that a lot of people are not comfortable with using gloves every time they're waxing. For me personally, I rather do that because I only use one ball for the entire service. I've gotten to the point where I don't need to use multiple gloves. I just use it for the video for the sake of you guys knowing how to do it properly. So I don't use as many gloves as you think I do. I literally just use one pair for the full service and that's it, because I've learned how to use one ball for a full like Brazilian, let's say, right? So once you get a little bit more comfortable with controlling the sugar, you'll be able to get a bigger surface out of just one ball. So just keep on practicing. And that is it. That's all the questions. I just breezed through that whole thing. I'm so proud of myself. Let me take a sip of coffee. I feel like I'm rambling on and on, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure that you give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel. It definitely helps me out to continue to make content for you guys. While you're at it, make sure that you hit that little notification bell so that you're notified every single time I post a new video. And until next time, bye guys.